Welcome to another Mobycon Academy Spotlight session where we highlight some of the unseen heroes of the Dutch transportation system. And today we're going to be talking about the OV-fiets. And we do that according to the three famous questions. What is it? Do we need it? And can we have it? And once again, I'm joined by my colleague Matt Pinder, who is in our office in Delft. Hello, welcome to the show. So the first question, what is it? The OV-fiets, you've experienced it yourself. What was it like?
Yeah, I am the outside perspective user of OV-fiets. Well, it is a wonderful tool that you can use as an extension of the train system, I think is the highest level way to describe it. But they are bikes that are placed at all of the train stations across the country, sometimes hundreds at a single station. And they are there for you to easily complete some travel that is not convenient walking distance from the train station. So maybe, I think you were describing trip chaining is a really common thing. You take the train to the station, you get a bike for 24 hours, you have on-demand transportation that is yours. You don't have to swap it with someone else. You can visit a friend, you can go to the store, whatever you like. And it is integrated with a single card. So the card you purchase the train with, you can also rent this bike with seamlessly, no contracts, no legal stuff.
No waivers? You didn't sign a waiver?
No waivers.
Oh, nice. So there's 22,500 by the last count OV-fiets bikes across the country at every train station now, which is really nice. It's been around since 2003 already, but it's grown significantly in popularity in the last years, and it's finally caught on as a real service. And like you said, it does provide that security of knowing that you can go wherever you want to go, and your bike stays with you until you get back to the train station. So it's a back to one system, as we call it in the bike share world. Unlike the US or North American bike share options, where usually you put it in a dock and somebody else can use it, and then you find another bike to take back to wherever you were going. And that poses some challenges, right? Because you don't get as much utilization. As you said, you can keep it 24 hours, 72 hours if you really want. But it does give you that security, right? So it's like a premium service. Yeah,
I think the important difference from the North American bike share systems is that like density of that bike share network is everything. You need to have a station every 200, 400 meters in order for people to use it, because it's not your bike once you've docked it. With this one, you can have a single rental point, a single return point, and it is your vehicle for that short period of time. So it's more shared than a personal bicycle, but it's less shared than a bike share system.
Yeah, and I think the reason it's so successful is because of the success of the train system, right? I mean, you can only do that if you have a one point of entry for as many pedestrians that want to ride a bike as possible. If you would have a lot of small stations like a metro or an urban train system, you would have to have way too many stations to make this work, like you said. So yeah, that's the amount of travel Dutch people do intercity via rail is quite significant, and that's why this is a good system. Brings us to our next question: do we need it in North America?
Yeah, I think this one is a lot more nuanced. It's not an obvious yes, but I think in the right cases, it is really valuable. I think I think of Toronto, where I've spent a lot of time living, building a really regional rail system right now that will eventually look a lot like the Dutch rail system with different hubs and nodes. You're going to have very different travel patterns that emerge once your rail network allows you to do that. So maybe you live close to a train station and your destination is like relatively close to a train station at the other end, but how do you get that last mile? Is the bus service providing a direct route for you, or is your destination kind of unique and far away, or do you need to do multiple things at the other end? This is where people are making the decision between, do I take a car from my point of origin all the way there so I have the convenience of the car the whole way, or do I have something convenient at the other end of the train station that allows me to take the train for most of the trip?
And then in those situations, like having the same bicycle access system would be great on both ends, right? So you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to Toronto, which means I need a different card or a different sign up or a different login to get a bike there, versus going the other way to a different town where they might have a completely different system. So in those more regional ways, it would could work if your rail is good enough, right? I guess you have to have enough density of people coming out of that station. But do we need it like a national system? Would that make sense in North America?
I think that's the difference between the Randstad, you call it here. It's like, it is a metropolitan region. I think that's a better way to look at it in the North American context, is take a metropolitan region and see, do we need an integrated system there? Because, if you're traveling between Chicago and San Francisco, those are entirely different regions that are, I think it's the regional level that makes sense. Yeah. People traveling to San Francisco, a 4 or 5, 6 hour flight, they don't expect to have the same access to the same services necessarily. Would be nice, but not necessarily required. Yeah, and then so the third question: can we have it? And we kind of need it a little bit in some ways. Yeah, it's like a frill that you add once you've created a wonderful transportation system. I think the gut reaction that some people would have is this going to compete with local transit? Don't we just want good buses that feed into train stations? But the way you described it is this is a much smaller share than what the local transit does, and it's more expensive too. Yeah. Where you could take a local bus from a train station for €1 or €2. This is going to cost you €5. So it is a very unique solution to this problem of, I need to go multiple places from this train station, and maybe I'm sleeping over at a friend's house or my parents' house or something, and it's just nice to have a personal vehicle while I'm at this destination.
Yeah, and I guess the security that it gives, I don't have to find a dock for it. I don't have to walk to a specific docking station to only find it empty, or the bike there is broken, or it's not the right bike for me. I have to walk another 400 meters to get to the next docking station. Those kind of insecurities are taken away by using that back to one, and that I guess would be nice. And in my view, I mean, a national system that works in Chicago and in San Francisco and in LA and in Washington DC, maybe not necessary, but there is other ways of doing this, right? There could be like the credit card system in the US is not dissimilar from something like this. And maybe if Visa and MasterCard get together and say, we'll make some sort of sign-up system where your credit card becomes your waiver and your payment and your warranty and your bond in one, then that would make that transition a lot easier. And I know that with my Visa card or my MasterCard, I can go to San Francisco and unlock a bike. And maybe those would be steps in the right direction.
Yeah, those details are important to figure out.
Yes.
And I describe it as a frill, but I think it is important to wrap up with, these frills are what make cycling so wonderful and transportation so wonderful in the Netherlands. Not just focusing on what are the things bare bone things that people need. Yeah. This is a wonderful thing that improves the travel experience and is actually quite delightful for people traveling between cities.
Yeah, totally. And it takes that uncertainty away from a lot of your trips. Like even if I do have a bus option at the end, I never quite know if the bus is going to be on time, if it's going to get me close enough to the station. I have to get a bus back, maybe late at night. And this independence that you gain by having your own bicycle that will come back to you to the station is some sort of insurance policy against any disruption that might happen, which is, makes cycling and transit a more viable option for a lot more trips. Yeah. So maybe in the future we'll have something like this
with the right basic ingredients.
We need a lot of things need to happen before this happens, but there is opportunities there as cities expand their transit offerings and their rail systems. All right, great. Thank you very much for joining me today on this Mobycon Academy Spotlight series. Next time we will talk about one of the other aspects that make the Dutch transportation system so great. So thanks for joining us, and see you again next time.